Welcome to Agelust, the podcast, where we explore notions and experiences around lustful aging. I'm your host, Jessica. I'm a board-certified family nurse practitioner who's been in the wellness space for close to 20 years. I'm also a certified menopause provider with the North American Menopause Society. And I'm a coach. I focus on quality of life issues like sex, hormones, and mind expansion as medicine. Today's episode is a teaser, a tickler of sorts, a quickie of what's happening next week when I report from the Adult Novelty Manufacturing Expo. Today's episode is about 3 intimate wellness products that I recommend. Each can be used alone or with a friend. So let's get ready to rev, fit, and sizzle away. It's a little corny, but you get the idea. What do you think of when you think of quality of life issues? Are you thinking about sex and sexual expression? Because those are quality of life issues as well as quality control too. Sex and sexual expression are a way to check your engine light, are a way to check in with yourself. Orgasms, erections, whether they're clitoral erections, penile erections, lubrication, ejaculation, they can all be part of self-care. And I'm not just talking about like bubble baths. That's not what I mean by self-care. I'm talking about the actual foundation and how it started, how we care for ourselves in a very deep way. Here at Agelust, there is no maximum age or expiration date on sexual expression. It's ever evolving. However, how we express our sexual selves today may be, and hopefully is very different from when we were 21 years old or 31. What brings us pleasure will change too. Sex tech can be an exciting and necessary addition to our whole lives. And who doesn't love a new toy? How do you define quality of life? Or think about the components of a quality of life or a good quality of life? It can be health, access to good food. It can be the ability to rest when you need rest. But sex and sexual expression are also quality of life issues. And sometimes when we explore our sexual selves, it becomes a quality control issue too. So, for example, erections, whether they're clitoral, penile, orgasm, lubrication, ejaculation, can all be aspects of self-care. When I think about Agelust, one of the qualities, mottos, whatever you want to call it, is that there is no maximum age or expiration date around sexual expression. However, there is change. So how we express our sexual selves today may be, and hopefully is very different from where we were when we were 21 or 31. And what brings us pleasure changes too. So sex tech can be an exciting and necessary addition to our whole lives. And who doesn't love a new toy? Who doesn't love the idea of play? If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen my reel or unboxing. Oh, by the way, my Instagram is @agelust.co. And that's the first toy I want to talk about, what I unboxed. It's called the Life Rev. And Oh My Body sent it to me. It's a rechargeable vibrator, and it actually falls under the category of a finger vibe. So right then, you know that it's probably going to be small. And this one is small. It's easy to use and powerful. Their website says Life Rev is designed with accessibility in mind, featuring an ergonomic design that's easy to hold, a single large button, and a manual with large typeface for readability. You don't know that you need a manual with large typeface until you're probably 45, maybe 40. I don't know. But there gets to be this point where you're like, oh my God, I cannot read without some glasses. So let's talk about accessibility. And I want to first talk about price point, because I think that's important to know. So this Vibe is $69, and that may be easily accessible, a little bit harder, but it's very, very worth it. And I'm going to break down why. Let's also talk about shape and size. So as far as accessibility, it's tiny. I don't know. I used to be a doula, so I'm like using my fingers right now to kind of gauge how many centimeters. So it's about maybe 3 centimeters around in size, maybe smaller. And it's circular, and the top of the circle creates a handle-like area where you can place 2 fingers in and hold it like a tiny little finger clutch. It's very lightweight, so if you have hand cramping, low hand strength, you're just tired of carrying shit, no problem. It's soft, it's flexible, and that handle is something you didn't know that you needed in your life, and it is pretty, I don't know, it's like this simple thing that makes life so much easier. That's the other thing. As we get older, and I know specifically in the menopause journey, all of a sudden there are joint issues and things are hurting that are strange. So to me, this light, flexible, and just soft feel, although it's hard, it is a Vibe, right? So there is a motor in it, are helpful. There are 5 modes, so we're going to talk about the power. And while it's no Hitachi wand plug-in strength kind of power, it does a nice job for the size. And if you're super sensitive, well, you just place those 2 fingers through the handle and create a buffer, or find another mode. It's also waterproof and rechargeable and body safe. When I first saw the Rev, I thought, I like how smooth it is. She's cute, but I'm not expecting too much. And I was wrong. I love this toy. I love how much control I have without all the effort. And again, I told you I got it as a gift, but I would actually purchase it myself. The final bit I want to talk about is shape. And I think it's important because not everybody wants a phallic tool. They don't want this long cylindrical thing. That can be really intimidating. You can also have like nosy young people in your house, your offspring snooping around where they shouldn't. Or maybe you travel a ton and TSA is always pulling your bag out and questioning your double penetrating dildo. So this shape avoids all of that. It is lovely, round, and able to fit in your palm, or you could place it right in your pocket. So the Rev, the Love Life Rev, I highly, highly recommend. This next product I would definitely categorize as a tool, but it's a tool that some might toy around with. Okay, it's the Joy Lux Vit, which is a device that you place in your vagina, and they say, quote, designed with menopausal women in mind, promote vaginal wellness, improve sensation, and increase confidence. So I'll talk a little bit about the confidence really quickly before I forget. So I think that the confidence is going to come in some of the reparative factors. And I'll get to that around the pelvic floor. So I have to be honest, it took me some time to warm up to the V-Fit. I also received this in exchange for a review. And I gotta say, like, my review was like it was like meh, but I really became a fan, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how that happened. So you might have actually seen the V-Fit on The Real Housewives of New York, and they threw, like, one of them found a dildo in the chicken episode. I don't know which episode that was. Maybe it was Ramona's. I don't know. House. But when I saw it, I was like, that's the V-Fit. You know, they were like all kikiing about it. And I was like, that's not even like, whatever. Oh, let me explain. So the Joylux V-Fit is this girthy power tool with a purpose. It's an intimate health device, quote unquote, an intimate health device. The V-Fit is body-safe materials, of course, but more importantly, it has sonic vibration, red light therapy, and gentle heat. So you might think of like the New Face or one of those red light masks that you put on your face to help with collagen building and wrinkles. Same thing, but for the vagina. The V-Fit is created to heal what ails you, right? To bring fresh blood to that honeypot. So I want to tell you first what my turnoff was when I first got it. And like it was totally my fault because it was the heat and the hardness of the V-Fit. So the V-Fit, unlike the Rev, the V-Fit is phallic shaped, right? It has a phallic shape. I don't know how you'd say that. Think like summer squash. And because it has a very specific function, it needs a particular hard casing. So for me, the heat was the problem. And I think also the hard casing like kind of brought me back to like vibrators of old with the batteries, right? So, did I read the booklet that came with the V-Fit and use it as recommended? Go by the prescription? No, I did not. So I was just kind of doing what I thought I should do, and that was not right. But once I contacted the company and did what was suggested, I started to actually find the heat very soothing, and the sonic vibration became quite pleasurable, like an added little health bonus. So I love that it is this multifunctional tool, and I really started to enjoy it. So where the Rev is super light, the V-Fit is heavier. But I want to tell you that's one of the benefits of it. So many of us hold tension in our pelvic floors. And what that weight does is it reminds you to relax the pelvic floor. Relax it. It's kind of like going for a massage. If you sit there really tense, the muscles can't really repair. So the weight is this reminder. Now, I just said that so many of us hold our tension in the pelvic floor. And I want to give you an example. You may go to get your pelvic exam and you're told to squeeze the fingers of the provider to test the strength, your Kegels. Like, do a Kegel, right? And then you're told, oh no, you're not strong enough. You need to do more Kegels. When actually the opposite is true. You're holding it all together, and you've been holding it all together for so long, it's almost like you're in this constant tightness or spasm. And the result for some of us, now this is obviously not everyone with this problem, but for some of us who hold tension there, you sneeze or you laugh and like you piddle in your panties, right? Just a little beep. So while the V-Fit is focusing on bringing tone to the tissues, right, with the sonic vibration and the blood flow and the red light, the weight is a reminder to let us release and relax into that sensation. Now, I do want to offer a word of caution. The red light will have you glowing like Rudolph in the beginning. So be prepared. Until the V-Fit is like nuzzled deep into your love pocket, right? And that light goes away, you will see a glow. The other consideration is the price point. So when we're thinking about accessibility, the buttons are not challenging to use, by the way, but let's go to this price point. It is $395, which can seem high for some folks, but they do have a membership that includes the tool and support. So it's like a monthly membership. And when you consider the expense and accessibility of a pelvic floor physiotherapist, because there are PTs, physiotherapists, who do specialize just in the pelvic floor, $395 may seem like a bargain. I would also just put out there, depending on your health insurance and if you have a health savings account, perhaps that would cover the cost as well. Because remember, the V-Fit is a health tool. So I absolutely recommend the V-Fit for the therapeutic purposes. The weight to remind you to release and relax, and you're taking time, 6 to 12 minutes of time, a few times a week, just for yourself. So something to consider. Our final tool must have been invented by a woman who's just tired of spit. And in the words of Betty Dodson, Dr. Betty Dodson, she wanted to run the fuck. I was also going to make a dry January joke, but I won't. So I'm talking about lube. Lube is something we all need at times. I think of lube as a revolutionary tool, dare I say, a foundational, legendary tool. Lube can come as water-based, silicone, oil, or solid. It comes in organic, scented, flavored. There are THC and CBD infused lubes. So you can get high while climaxing, okay? Anyway, I want to point you to a brand that a sex educator that I loves. It's Sliquid. And the lube I'm talking about today is Sizzle. It's just one of their vegan formulas. I actually know a few sexual wellness clinics that exclusively use Sliquid. So primarily water-based lube. They have a variety of offerings. And the one that gets the 4-star review by a pleasure expert is Sliquid Naturals Sizzle. She texted me this review. So she said, it's like, slightly cooling and warming, body safe. And it helps me generate natural lubrication. I apply it once before sex and it's extremely effective. So it's made with food grade menthol. And I think that's where the cooling and the warming happens. The warming would happen with the friction. Now, personally, I stay away from flavors and cooling and warming. And it's not for me because anything bad happens. It's just not for me. However, that doesn't mean it's not for you. It's worth noting that most of Sliquid's lubes have a pH of around 4. And why is that important? It's important because our body has different pHs throughout. So the vagina is a little acidic and it likes acid. Vaginas are usually around a pH of 4. And how does that translate in something that we may use every day? So The pH of 4 is very much like a glass of orange juice or a tomato. Coconut oil, for example, which was all the rage in the lube world years ago, all the natural people were like, use coconut oil. But that pH is a 7 or 8, between a 7 and 8, which is like water. So while coconut oil is antifungal, and it has antifungal properties, so it's not exactly, but it has antifungal properties, it can also bring on bacterial vaginosis. And that's because, and that's that fishy odor, we're not going to get into that so much right now, but that's because it neutralizes the vaginal pH, right? It takes away that acid. But you might be thinking, what if I just am interested in anal play? Well, there you go. Okay. Sliquid has a lube for that, which is as neutral as the coconut oil, because the anus is neutral territory. It's between a 7 and an 8. I hope that's helpful. So lube is one of those tools that is extremely cost effective, and it can be life-changing. It can relieve discomfort, heighten pleasure, bring a sense of play, whether you're playing alone or with others. So in the case of the sizzle, that might be the play you want to play with. Something menthol, something cooling. You could have been like, ooh, I love that Bengay. I thought that was kind of hot when I rubbed it on my thigh. Okay, that's something to know. And lube is a body-safe way of playing. Hopefully this has gotten you excited about the possibilities and, of course, the next episode, because these tools are just the tip of the iceberg. I promise you there is a toy or tool that is just right for you. As you start to explore, remember, 1, a quality lubricant can help increase your comfort during sexual play. Look for one that's long-lasting, body-safe, and safe to use with barrier methods. 2, a vibrator can be a great way to add extra stimulation during sex. They come in different shapes, sizes, and can adapt to you. And 3, if you have or are experiencing pain or discomfort, regardless of genital type, I'm talking about pelvic pain or discomfort, there's help. Sometimes the solution is simple, so ask for help. I can't wait to share what I learn at the expo. But for now, check the episode description for links to the products that I mentioned. Not just one, but 2 shops have given me discount codes to share with you while you explore the world of toys. The first is the Pleasure Parlor, which has mindfully curated pleasure products and subscription boxes. These are curated by a sex educator. That's www.thepleasureparlor.com. Use the code Agelust and receive 20% off a single order of $30 or more. This excludes subscription boxes. And if you are in New York and looking for a real life experience, check out That Drawer in Long Island. At That Drawer, which is the second shop, you can work directly with a sex therapist on site. You can also purchase online and either pick up at their shop, or they will discreetly ship to you, including local same-day delivery. Their web address is www.thatdrawer.com. Use the code Agelust for 20% off. And they're also listed in the description. Thanks again for listening. If this podcast takes some of the pressure off or adds some positive pressure, please share it. Post about it on social media and leave 5-star rating and review. You can subscribe on Apple Podcast as well as Spotify and go directly to Anchor. If you have a topic idea or questions, you can leave me a voice message on anchor.fm/Agelust or DM me at agelust.co. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.